Hi, I'm Mike, the owner and founder of Stronghold Floors. If you're constructing a new concrete floor, whether it's a garage, a basement, a pole barn, and you plan to have a professional floor coating installed, a little planning goes a long way. This video is going to give you 10 essential tips for floor coatings on new construction concrete. So, to help you save time, money, and maybe even some frustration. Tip number one, our first and most crucial tip: no sealers or cure and seal on that newly placed slab. Never apply any cure and seal product or any type of sealer to your new concrete slab in the garage, the basement, or other areas where you plan to have coatings. These products are going to prevent the epoxy from properly adhering and bonding with the concrete. And if you must use a curing agent, verify with the manufacturer it does not contain a sealer component. Very, very important tip. Tip number two: avoid over-troweling the surface. It's fine to use a power trowel, but don't run it into the point where you've blackened the concrete slab. Really, the concrete finishers, when they're working, just ask them not to burnish it, blacken, or over-trowel it. A smooth steel trowel finish is really all that is needed. If a power trowel is used, just ask them to work the surface only as much as absolutely necessary, as a highly compressed surface is more difficult to prep, get it open, impart a deep scratch pattern, and get it ready for the coatings. Tip number three: choose the right control joints if they're needed. When you're planning your joints, we really recommend opt for plastic zip strips, the little white strips, or saw cuts. They're okay too. Avoid using the V-style joints that like you see in sidewalks. Really no use for those, because while they look decorative after they're coated, they're just a dirt trap. Absolutely avoid any type of metal strips and no expansion joints on the main slab unless they're absolutely unavoidable due to sheer size or some other factor. But by and large, when a control joint is necessary, a plastic zip strip works best because you can clean them up, hide them under the coatings, and if you do it at the right time, at the right way, it won't show up again later. Tip number four: if you're going to have steps in the garage or the basement or some other area where you're going to coat, mind the material you create the steps out of. We can coat concrete steps, obviously, but if you have wooden steps, they should be plain wood only. You really do not want to use any sort of pressure-treated lumber, MDF, OSB, other types of plywoods, as the coating system may not properly bond, and it may not look too good as well, because some of those materials, your coatings will sink in too much. Tip number five: always allow proper curing time. Very important. The industry standard for a normal concrete mix is that it must cure for a minimum of 28 days before coatings, but that's a minimum. At Stronghold Floors, we highly suggest 45 days or more, depending upon local weather conditions, to really ensure you get an optimal amount of moisture content out of the slab through the curing process. Now, generally, when they place the concrete in a basement or a garage, by the time you've hit the end of the construction to where coatings can be installed, you oftentimes are already going to be out past that 30 days and more likely into that 45-day range. If you do have to rush it and you're planning to use a faster curing concrete mix, work with the concrete company and the professionals like us to make sure that everyone's in sync on what's being placed and when it can be coated. Tip number six: good news. Radiant floor heat is not a problem. If you have a radiant flooring system and you install it per the manufacturer's specifications, no part of the coatings or surface prep process should cause any issues. We have coated over many radiant floors in both residential and commercial installations. Never been a problem. Matter of fact, we love it when that radiant system is running, especially if we're doing this in the cold weather. You can bring that temperature of the slab up to about 60 to 65 degrees, and that's going to be pretty optimal for the coatings. Tip number seven: driveway installation can wait. You don't have to have your blacktop or your concrete driveway in there before we would come in and coat. We just need to know what we're up against from the standpoint of, do we have to bring boards to get up onto the garage floor slab? If you're planning on having a coating put in and then install your driveway, you just want to make sure that you protect the coatings. And so if they're running something like a roller and they're going to come up onto it, just put some cardboard down, let the roller go up onto that. That way it doesn't track any blacktop material, tar onto the surface, and it wouldn't scuff or scratch it then as well. And we've had that work very successfully many times. Tip number eight: install your trim or baseboards after the coatings whenever possible. We really advise that, because if you're installing baseboard trim or co-base after the coatings are complete, any future changes to the trim won't affect where the finish line of the coatings are. You just get a much cleaner look. And since garage floor oftentimes have a bit of a wave, your base trim may not be perfectly touching the floor the whole way along the trim itself. And so you end up with bigger gaps and smaller gaps. And if you've coated all the way up and then put that trim down, the coatings go all the way back under it, and it's just going to look really, really clean. Tip number 9, complete your wall painting first, preferably 72 or more hours before a coatings team like ours would arrive, because what you're allowing it to do is allowing the paint on the walls to cure to a point where when you're throwing the decorative flakes, it doesn't want to stick to that new paint. If you have to paint afterwards, that's fine. Just wait for the proper amount of cure for the coatings, which is typically about 72 hours. And that way, if you were to get paint on the new coatings, you can scrub it right off, and it can't really bond to those good professional coatings. Tip number 10, the final tip. Don't worry about cleaning up the concrete slab before the coatings teams arrive, because we're going to mechanically diamond grind the surface. It's going to chew away any drywall mud, any dirt, any residual spray of paint that might have gotten onto that main slab. The grinders are going to take care of that. Prepare the surface and remove any of those spots that, had that drywall compound or paint overspray on it. Don't wash it either. There's no point, and you don't want that slab wet, damp, or drawing moisture down into it. It's literally just broom it out, and then it's ready for the professionals to show up and do their work. By following these 10 steps, you really are ensuring the best possible starting point for your long-lasting, beautiful floor coatings. If you're ready for your new floor coatings, visit our website at strongholdfloors.com to request a free, no-obligation quote today. Thanks for watching.